Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday morning. Diane Armitage here, looking pretty casual, but I don't care that I'm looking casual because I just sat through 6 hours. Actually, I didn't even sit. I stood and I paced and I moved the whole time for 6 hours watching Rafa Nadal take the championship in the Australian Open final. I got up at 12:30 this morning to see Rafa play because he always has some surprising moves and he's always been my favorite. Now, I love Roger Federer. I think he's absolutely astounding. But for more than a decade now, Rafa has always been my favorite pick because he is indomitable. He just never stops. What I find most amazing about him is that his mindset has gotten so powerful over the years. And what's really extraordinary is to see him come into this final when nobody expected him to even be near the finals. Last year, he had a foot issue that had been a chronic issue for years. He was out with COVID. He was out for most of the entire season, and he hadn't been playing at all. And he had all this stuff about age going on too, because in tennis, when you're 35 years old, you're a really old man. So no matter what the circumstance was, no matter what the age thing was that was always being talked around him, he just didn't care. He was going to play his best tennis, and that was the name of the game. What I also find so great about him is that he truly believes in his power and the passion that he has in this power. And so many times I see people start out on their path and then they fall back because they just don't believe enough in their own power. You've got to understand you're not just a human being. You're this rockin' spiritual being who's in a human body, and you have all the power in the world to do what you choose to do. I think he is such a perfect example of that. I also think he's a great example of somebody who can actually tune out the noise, especially during the match. I mean, initially people were yelling for him, and then they weren't yelling for him, and then they were yelling for him, and then they weren't yelling for him. And I'm sure he had plenty of questions coming at him and all kinds of stuff happening before the final. Everyone not really sure that he was going to be able to handle this very formidable opponent who was 10 years younger. And he just tuned out all that noise. I think it's incredible that he has that power. And I think it's so important that you and I and everyone who is on their path, doing what they passionately believe is what they're supposed to be doing on this earth, that they tune out the noise, they tune out the opinions, they tune out all the stuff. Whether people are on their side or against their side, it doesn't matter because what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. And I absolutely love that. The other thing that I just was probably the best moment of the entire match was he had lost the first two sets. He finally won the third set. And of course, they're doing all the statistics, about how when you lose the first two sets in the final, you never win the end, and all this sort of stuff is going on. He finally won that third set, and then he sent many of his tennis rackets to be restrung. For me, that is the crowning moment of belief. That is the moment when you are so sure and so expectant of your win that you take action on something that most people think is pretty extraordinary and unbelievable. Everyone was surprised that he sent his tennis rackets to be restrung because they didn't think he was going to make it through 5 sets, let alone win 5 sets. But he didn't care what they thought. He was expecting to win, and he took action on that win. It is so, so important that no matter what is going on around you, no matter what kind of noise is happening around you, no matter what people are trying to tell you, no matter what your old paradigms in your own head are trying to tell you, that you take action, expectant action, always expecting the win. What is so amazing about what Nadal did today, he made history. He was tied for 20 Grand Slam titles, tied with Djokovic, tied with Federer, and today he's the all-time winningest of all the male players in tennis history with 21 Grand Slams. And I can tell you, at the beginning of that match, very few people thought that he was going to make it there. But he had a belief. He knew. This is so important. It's so important to keep in mind. It doesn't matter what's going on. Stay on your path. You are the only human being with this desire in your head, with this passion in your head and with all this power flowing through you, you're the only one who's going to get it done. So start getting it done. Start taking action. I mean, I've been up since 12:30 in the morning and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to work now. I got to go to work. It's a Sunday. I'm going to be working. I'm working on my passion because it was so inspiring. And that's what I love about Rafa Nadal. So inspiring. I hope that you make it an amazing day. I hope you make it an amazing week forward. And I really look forward to hearing about your wins as you move forward on your passion. I'll talk to you soon.